Ma'am, is that a Navy SEAL trident tattoo? The young lieutenant's question cut through the Pentagon cafeteria like a blade through silence. Coffee cups froze mid-air, conversations stopped, and time itself seemed to pause. After 20 years of invisibility, someone had finally looked close enough to see. From which city in the world are you watching this video today? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button. Elena Vasquez's hand trembled over the plastic coffee container. That small, faded mark on her wrist, meaningless to most, but carrying the weight of 7 years in the shadows. The secret she had buried for 2 decades was about to surface because of a single question. The B2 level cafeteria operated like clockwork. Every morning at 6 a.m., Elena would unlock the doors, check the machines, and prepare for another day of serving coffee to the people who ran America's military. Generals, admirals, colonels, they all passed through her line, ordering their usual drinks without really seeing her. For 20 years, Elena had been invisible by choice. She was 51 now, with graying hair always pulled back in a practical bun, minimal makeup, and the kind of forgettable face that blended into background noise. Her movements were precise, efficient, almost mechanical. She knew every officer's order by heart. General Morrison's black coffee, no sugar. Colonel Peterson's cappuccino with extra foam. Major Rodriguez's double espresso on Monday mornings. What they didn't know was that Elena remembered everything else too. Every conversation about classified operations, every mention of troop movements, every whispered discussion about budget allocations. Her mind cataloged it all automatically. A habit from another life when listening meant survival. But that was before. Now she was just Elena Vasquez, reliable cafeteria worker. Never sick, never late, never asking questions. The morning had started like any other, until Lieutenant Michael Riley stepped into her line. Young, athletic, with the bearing of someone fresh from Naval Academy. His uniform was crisp, his posture perfect, and his eyes, Elena noticed immediately, scanned the room with professional awareness. "Good morning, ma'am. Large black coffee, please." "Of course." "Sugar?" "No, thank you." As Elena reached for his cup, her sleeve pulled back slightly, exposing the small tattoo on her wrist. Most people never noticed it, but Riley wasn't most people. His eyes fixed on the faded ink, and Elena watched recognition dawn across his face. The trident. The small numbers beneath it. The code that identified her as something she hadn't been in 20 years. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "is that a Navy SEAL trident tattoo?" The cafeteria fell silent. Margaret, her co-worker, looked over curiously. General Morrison glanced up from his newspaper. Everyone was watching now, waiting for an answer that could change everything. Elena studied the young lieutenant. "Who are you, son?" "Lieutenant Michael Riley, Naval Intelligence. I came through the SEAL program." Something in his tone told Elena he wasn't just curious. He knew what he was looking at. "We don't talk here," Elena said softly. 1500 hours. B4 archive section. Come alone." Riley nodded, took his coffee with shaking hands, and walked away. Elena continued serving as if nothing had happened, but inside, her carefully constructed world was crumbling. Because Lieutenant Riley had seen more than just a trident. Below it, in letters so small they were barely visible, was a code, ST-6041, SEAL Team 6, Operational Number 041, a ghost from a program that never officially existed. The archive section was perfect for secrets. Rows of metal shelves stretched into shadows, filled with files from operations most people would never hear about. Elena sat at a table in the back, hands folded, waiting. Riley appeared exactly on time, moving carefully through the stacks. When he found her, his expression was a mixture of awe and disbelief. "You're really from Team 6? Elena rolled up her sleeve, showing the full tattoo. "Operational Number 041. 7 years active duty, 1996 to 2003. But there were no female operators in SEAL Team 6 then. Officially. Officially, Elena agreed. But sometimes unofficial operators were needed, especially women. Riley sat down hard, struggling to process what he was hearing. How? Elena looked past him, into memories she'd spent 20 years trying to bury. 1994, University of Miami, cryptography major. I was recruited for a special program, Ghost Operatives. 12 of us, 6 men, 6 women. We trained for 2 years, then deployed to places where normal SEALs couldn't operate. What kind of places? Anywhere a woman could blend in. I spent months inside terrorist cells in Afghanistan, gathered intelligence in Iraq before the invasion, tracked war criminals in Bosnia. I lived complete false identities for years at a time. Riley's voice was barely a whisper. How many operations? 15 successful missions. My cover was never blown. Until the last one. Elena's expression darkened. Baghdad, 2003. I was working as a computer specialist near Saddam's palace, trying to locate chemical weapons. Someone betrayed me. Iraqi secret police captured me. What happened? 6 days of interrogation. Torture, but I never broke cover. I would have died as Layla Ahmad, the Lebanese technician. Elena's voice cracked slightly. My team rescued me, but we lost 3 good people in the process. James Morrison, Marcus Wright, Sarah Chen. They died because of my mission. Riley understood now. That's why you left. PTSD. I couldn't work in the field anymore. Saw enemies in every shadow. The Navy gave me a new identity. Elena Vasquez, cafeteria worker, safe, quiet, invisible. But why stay here? Why serve coffee to the same people you once protected in the field? Elena smiled sadly, because sometimes the greatest service is being invisible. For 20 years, I've been the Pentagon's quiet guardian. I've watched, listened, analyzed every conversation about classified operations, every suspicious behavior, every potential security threat. I've cataloged it all. Riley's eyes widened. You've been conducting surveillance? Protecting this building. Protecting everyone in it. It was my final mission and I never stopped executing it. 3 months later, everything changed again. Elena was preparing General Morrison's usual coffee when 3 men in suits entered the cafeteria. They moved with military precision despite their civilian clothes, and the gray-haired man in front carried himself with the authority of high rank. They walked straight to Elena's station. Elena Vasquez? The man asked. I'm Elena. Admiral Jonathan Mitchell. I need to speak with you. The cafeteria had gone quiet again. Elena removed her apron, told Margaret she'd be back, and followed the men to an elevator. They rode in silence to the 5th floor, to a section she'd never accessed, Naval Special Operations Command. Inside was a conference room with 5 high-ranking officers around a polished table. Elena Rodriguez, Admiral Mitchell said. Operational number 041. SEAL Team 6 Ghost Operative, active 1996 to 2003. We know who you are. Elena said nothing. We're restarting the Ghost Operatives program. Officially, this time. We need experienced trainers. I'm retired. You were never officially active, so you can't officially retire either. Mitchell opened a file. We've been watching you, Elena. 20 years in this cafeteria, and you still move like an operative. You still think like one. Another officer spoke up. We're not asking you to return to the field. We want you to train the next generation. Elena considered this. What makes you think I'm interested? Because one of your old students is missing. Elena's blood went cold. What? Lieutenant Sarah Collins, one of the new operatives. She's been dark for 72 hours in Syria. Elena stood up slowly. Where? We can't authorize a rescue mission yet. Washington is... Where is she? Admiral Mitchell hesitated, then pulled up a map. Aleppo region. She was infiltrating a terrorist cell when... Elena was already moving towards the door. I'm going to get her. Elena, you can't. You're not authorized for field operations. She turned back, and for the first time in 20 years, they saw not the quiet cafeteria worker, but the ghost operative she'd always been. Collins is my responsibility. I trained her methods. I know how she thinks. You can authorize me or not. I'm going. 2 days later, Elena returned from Syria with a wounded but alive Sarah Collins. The rescue had cost Elena a bullet in the arm and the end of her invisible life. When she walked back into the Pentagon, everything was different. The story had leaked. Elena Vasquez, the cafeteria worker, no longer existed. Elena Rodriguez, the legendary ghost operative, had returned. Admiral Mitchell found her in the medical bay. We can't hide it anymore. The Collins rescue is being documented. Your real identity is coming out. Elena nodded, unsurprised. What happens now? That's up to you. You can return to training operatives, or, he paused. We'd like to offer you something else. What? Head of the new Ghost Operatives program. Full authorization, your own team, unlimited resources. Elena looked out the window at the Pentagon courtyard, where she'd walked invisibly for 20 years. And Elena Vasquez? She served her purpose, but the country needs Elena Rodriguez now. A week later, Elena walked into the Pentagon cafeteria one last time. The entire staff was there, along with dozens of officers she'd served over the years. General Morrison stood at the front, holding a medal. For 20 years, he announced, we thought Elena Vasquez was just our coffee server. Today, we learned she was our guardian. Every conversation she overheard, every suspicious person she noticed, every potential threat she identified, all of it went into keeping this building and its people safe. He pinned the Distinguished Service Medal to her uniform. Elena Rodriguez, on behalf of everyone at the Pentagon, thank you for your service. All of it. Elena stepped to the microphone. For 20 years, I served you coffee. You saw me every day but never really looked. That was what I wanted. To be invisible. To protect you from the shadows. She looked around the room at faces that had become familiar over 2 decades. I came here broken, carrying the weight of missions I couldn't talk about and friends I couldn't save. This cafeteria became my sanctuary, and all of you became the people I was protecting. Her voice strengthened. I never stopped being a SEAL. I just learned to serve in a different way. And now, as I return to the field, I want you to know, the best warriors aren't always the ones carrying weapons. Sometimes they're the ones making sure you have coffee when you need it most. Elena stepped down from the podium as the room erupted in applause. Margaret hugged her, tears in her eyes. I always knew you were special, she whispered. As Elena walked out of the cafeteria for the last time, she passed the coffee station where she'd spent 7,000 mornings. Tomorrow, someone else would make General Morrison's black coffee. But the legacy of the Invisible Guardian would remain. Because real heroes don't always wear uniforms or carry medals. Sometimes they wear aprons and serve coffee, protecting from the shadows until the moment they're needed to step back into the light. Elena Rodriguez had spent 20 years proving that the greatest service isn't always visible. And now, as she returned to lead a new generation of ghost operatives, she carried with her the most important lesson of all. True strength isn't in the ability to fight, but in knowing when to remain hidden and when to emerge. The Pentagon's quiet guardian had become its most powerful weapon, not in spite of her years in the shadows, but because of them. Have you ever known someone like Elena Vasquez? Someone who walked among us in silence, never asking for recognition, yet carried more than most could imagine. If someone like that touched your life, share their name in the comments. Let this space be more than a video. Let it be a tribute, a digital memorial to those who served quietly, but powerfully. If you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, support our mission. Subscribe to Real Heroes Stories YT. Because some heroes don't wear medals. They carry invisible scars and unspoken courage. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.